And I wanted to share with the board, as I think I have before, but it bears repeating, especially for folks out there that haven't heard before. There's discussions of putting a transportation authority. You would have to get the authority from the General Assembly, and it's basically a taxing district that would attempt to complete projects in the district. Other areas of the state have them. And one of the things that, as we've been going over this, that has really become very clear to me, at least, is that the other localities always have something to rally around. There's a common enemy, let's say, when it comes to transportation, and a way that they can all do their part to fix that one issue. For example, in Hampton Roads, you have I-64 that goes through the different localities, and they can all do their piece of it to improve that section of roadway. And by doing that, you improve local transportation movement. So in our region, we have I-95, obviously, and Route 1 and 301, and Route 3 and Lafayette. That really, those are kind of the main ones that go through the different jurisdictions. And so I'm going to mention this to the board members here. If you guys have any additional comments or thoughts or whatever, and you want to talk to me offline, that's fine too. Excuse me. If there's anybody out there that has any additional thoughts, give me a call or an email. That's probably the best way. And what I really think that we need to propose, and I know that there are some board members up here, and perhaps a majority of board members, that are not in favor of an RTA in any form whatsoever, but I would just say that you hear about the issues transportation-wise, and they're not getting better. We have money that is being poured into a lot of projects, and by the time those projects, especially smart scale, get up and running and moving along, quite honestly, they're out of date and they should have been done 20 years ago. So we're playing catch up constantly. We're not really getting ahead anywhere. And we have plenty of growth in the region that is coming down the pike that we need to have a plan to address. And quite honestly, I don't think that we do. So what I'm going to propose with the RTA idea, and we'll see if the rest of the jurisdictions like it, which I kind of floated this a little bit and they didn't seem to like it, but maybe I can be a little bit more articulate and persuasive my next go around, which is basically we need to come up with projects that actually benefit the region. And the reason is that if you have a taxing district and Stafford citizens are paying, and Caroline and King George and us and Fredericksburg, why should Stafford residents pay for the expansion of Harrison Road, let's just say? That makes no sense, and that's not right. And vice versa, why should we pay for their interior road expansions? But when you have those connections that we have discussed a little bit here that need extra money, I think that there might be a way that we can come together to address those certain specific issues. And that's the other part of an RTA that concerns me is once you create something, it never goes away. And it always finds a problem to address, as opposed to finding the problems that need to be addressed and creating a solution to address those problems. So I think that we need to actually take a more business-minded approach to the issues that we have, as opposed to a governmental approach, no offense to governmental people out there, is that we come up with a list, and I have 5 that are projects that intersect our localities, that I think would actually help. Number one is, and some board members up here don't like it, is the current bridge connection between Stafford and Fredericksburg that has been proposed and they're studying. That's number one. Number 2 would then be a western bridge bypass further out in the county that would connect us over to Stafford at some point. Third would be a bridge connection over in the New Post area that would connect Route 17 over to Route 3. The third one would be the Shannon Drive, I do believe that's correct, where UPS is off of Lansdowne Road. They would connect that over to the industrial park in Fredericksburg that would alleviate a lot of that truck traffic going up Lansdowne and down Lansdowne, and would take you directly over to the Blue-Gray Parkway. And then the other one, and this has been talked about for years too, is the connection of Carl Silver Boulevard directly over into the mall, punch it straight through. Those to me, that's just my list. If other members have other ideas or they don't like them, that's fine. But my point behind throwing those out there is that those are projects that benefit more than one locality, help regional traffic move and flow better, and also what they do is they impact other projects that we have. For instance, if you connect New Post 17, somewhere in that area, excuse me, over to Route 3 in Stafford, you take a lot of that traffic that uses Route 1, the Blue Gray Parkway, and Lafayette Boulevard to get in that area, and you give people another option and another way to go. So therefore, you can actually reduce the cost that you might have to put into a Lafayette or a Route 1 or a 4 Mile Fork improvements, because now you're spreading traffic out and giving people options. That's just one small point to be made about that connection. So anyway, that all of those projects, like I said, are just ideas that I have had and have come, actually, honestly, have come up over many years. But as we sit here today, nothing is in the works for any of those to be moving forward. And so if we're going to do a regional transportation authority to fix regional transportation issues, we need to, number one, have a regional transportation plan. Number two, have a way to fund that. And then number three, actually get something accomplished. Because if we don't do it, we're going to sit here spinning our wheels, and 10 years from now, you're going to have new board members or maybe even some current board members talking about the exact same issues. So they're not going away. The problems aren't going away. And I'm not saying that this is the silver bullet that will work, but I think that it is at least the beginning of a discussion of how we can, if we come together, because we do need to come together as a region and fix these problems, but how do we do it? How do we do it the best way? And the most important thing is, how do we solve the problem? Because the taxpayers are paying for it, and they need to see that the problems are getting better, not that we're just constantly throwing money and throwing money and throwing money, and the problem continues to get worse. So I want to throw that out there to you guys. Sorry for taking more than my 5 minutes, but if you have any ideas, please let me know. And if there's anybody out there in the public, please shoot me an email. I'd certainly appreciate any ideas you come up with too.